Hey, welcome everyone. My name is Jim Carl. I am the Senior Director of Film Programming at the Carolina Theater of Durham. I'm also the founder of the Nevermore Film Festival. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon with the Nevermore Shorts Q&A. We have artists from all over the country, in Canada and all around the world, joining us this afternoon. Hopefully you can stick around. The interviews should last about 40, 45, 50 minutes. And let's get started right away. Let's introduce who we've got showing up this afternoon. We've got Jason Cook, and also we have Kelly Parker from the film Effing Ghosts. Say hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Where are you joining us from?
Los Angeles.
Kelly, the same thing?
Oh, you're muted, Kelly.
You're muted, Kelly.
Oh, no. I finally became one of those people that had to be told that. That's such a bummer.
Yeah, you're in the club now.
Yes, I'm
All
also
right.
in LA, sunny California.
Wonderful. So glad you guys are here. Next up, we have, let's see, Josephine Chang and Edward Hong from the film Make a Wish.
Hi.
Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Where are you joining us from today?
We're also here from sunny side of California.
Los Angeles, yep.
Wow. Well, so glad to have you guys here with us. Next up, we have Christian Klein from the film Sweet Nothings. Christian, you here in the room with us yet? If not, we'll come back around to Christian in just a moment. How about Sarah Wisner and Sean Temple from Thorns?
Hi, everybody.
Hey guys. Hey Sarah. Hey Sean. Great to have you here. Where are you guys joining us from today?
We're based in Vermont these days.
Vermont. Is it snowing or raining up there right now?
We're getting a little rain, but snow on the ground still.
Yeah, a lot of snow, but it's been a little warmer the last couple of days.
Well, I'm here in Raleigh and it's hot. So great to have you guys here with us. Thank you so much. We'll bring you back into the stream in just a few moments. Do we have the Summers brothers, Robert and Russell from I'll Be Back Tomorrow?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, guys. Now, I know you guys must be in Austin.
We are, yes.
How's the weather down there in Austin?
It's been a roller coaster the last few weeks. So it went from 8 degrees and now it's in the 70s.
Now, were you guys impacted with all of that snow and stuff that happened last month, the snow apocalypse?
We were impacted, but we had a lot better than most people. So we didn't.
So no power outages, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was
actually, I think I saw a YouTube video of you guys with something that you were out in the snow or something like that. Not too.
Yeah, we had 6.5 inches of snow, and it knocked down, parking structures near us and everything. So it was pretty exciting.
Wow. Well, glad to have you guys here. Hopefully, you'll have a much better experience.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Is Tara Price here from Tea Time? Tara, are you in the house with us? Hey, well, we have Christian Klein, though.
I'm not Tara, but I'm here.
Hey, Christian, good to see you.
You as well.
Where are you broadcasting from today?
I'm yet another Angelino.
A lot of people.
I wish I could be over there in North Carolina, though. It's a beautiful state. One of my best friends lives there, and I was just there this past summer.
It's very good. Aren't you originally from Florida, though?
I am, yeah. Like one of my best friends from Florida, like he ended up in North Carolina and I ended up in California, but we visit each other whenever we can. So yeah, looking forward to the next time I can head over there.
That's great. Glad to have you with us, Christian. We're going to keep rotating through then. Is Tara here yet? Tara Price from Tea Time. And if not, how about Ashley and Maya from Diabla? You in the house? Ashley, Maya, or Tara? If not, how about any of the crew from The Relic? We'll get you guys in. Believe me, we'll get you guys in. I see Roger's here.
I am.
Hey, good to see you guys. And there's Matt from The Relic, Roger and Matt. I think he's going to join us at some point or another, the director.
Yeah.
He should be.
Where are you
yes.
guys broadcasting from? Yeah.
Oh, we're all in Los Angeles too. Although Matt being outside Los Angeles.
Hey, Josh.
Oh, we're all in Los Angeles too.
It's beautiful.
Right, I had to turn my had to turn the other thing off.
It's good to see all three of you. Hey, Josh, are you also in LA?
Yep, we're all in LA. The film community.
Seems like it, doesn't it?
Aye.
Well, thank you guys. We're going to be rotating people in and out throughout the afternoon or throughout the next hour. Glad to see all three of you. We'll be bringing you back into the room in just a few minutes, but let's see if either Tara or Ashley or Maya has been able to get into the backstage. So for those of you that are watching, we could only allow 10 people into the backstage at one point, and we have to rotate artists in and out, and this will be going on throughout the entire show. So if you are an artist, if it's Tara or Ashley or Maya and you're trying to get in, don't give up. Just keep trying to get backstage into the show. Our production manager, Monique, will let you in eventually. But for now, let's try to move on with Christopher Moore, who is the director of North Carolina film called Backward Creep. Hey, Chris. Good.
What's up?
Hey. Now, you're not a stranger at all to Nevermore.
No, I've had a few films in the past get in. Have had a few films rejected because it's such a popular film festival, and you guys program some cool stuff. So, so I'm very lucky and humbled to be here today.
Well, it's great to see you. Now, with Backward Creep, I have to ask, did you get the inspiration with the entire cosplay because of Comic-Con, or is it something? Where did you get the idea of creating the cosplay aspect of Backward Creep? Because the entire thing is they're coming home from a cosplay.
Well, the main thing is a lot of my friends are cosplayers, and so I've been to conventions, and I became a cosplayer at one time, or I'm still a cosplayer, I guess. I did a cosplayer called Dr. Stranger Things that went kind of viral to even see Robert Cargill, who co-wrote Doctor Strange, tweeted my picture. So yeah, I got to know a lot of these friends who, a lot of them just have normal jobs, and they go to these conventions and they create these amazing costumes that some have been working on for almost a year. And a lot of times when you see cosplayers in movies, they're more of the butt of the joke. They're more parodies of what a cosplayer is. And I thought, well, we don't see any movies that have people who are cosplayers. So I thought that'd be some cool characters to throw into our movie, and also be able to create some interesting costumes for it, because our costumer, Elizabeth Caddy, she created all the costumes for our film.
Now, about the film itself, the creature design was amazing in that. I have to give credit. The creature design, the practical effects that were used for the creature design there at the end were just amazing. Where did you get the idea for something like that? Especially with not to give any spoilers away, but the whole concept about the eyes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I in the process of coming up with this idea, a lot of my films in the past have been more horror comedies, and I wanted to do something more of a straight horror, where I can create sort of an iconic horror character, because somebody who's a big fan of Freddy Krueger, and you see all these iconic horror characters, you don't see too many that are females, and so I wanted sort of a female horror villain. On top of that, I wanted because this evil happened from them seeing this sort of cursed manga page. I wanted a character that almost had like an anime type face for the mask, and also the costume, which I actually have some of the costumes which Elizabeth Caddy created. We created it based on certain costumes that you see like in anime conventions, and she created it all from scratch. And also, I just wanted a creature that had almost like a baby dollish anime face, but was creepy at the same time. And also, because you're reading this cursed manga page, once you read it, she shows up to steal your eyes for reading it. And she almost like, it becomes a part of her, almost like she absorbs your eyes when she steals them.
Any idea or any possibilities of a sequel or a feature out of this?
We actually, we created this sort of almost like a proof of concept. we have like the big money shot at the end to sort of sell this creature, which, will have a lot of more crazy things, abilities that she'll have. And we're actually working on the feature right now. Actually, Amanda Stone, was a producer on the short, she's co-writing the feature with me. We're going to base the film out of the Outer Banks in North Carolina, to where this group of cosplayer friends go on a beach trip so they can take pictures of the cosplays on the beach, which I have friends that do that all the time. And then they read this cursed page, and then the Ashira girl, as we call her, shows up, and evil ensues.
Very nice. So, Chris, I'm going to let you take over from this point on out, and I'm going to let you handle the rest of the interviews with the Nevermore Shorts filmmakers, unless you have something else you'd like to tell us about Backward Creep.
Mainly just follow our pages on the social media, whether Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, because we'll actually be posting a whole lot more information as we get closer to. We're hoping to film hopefully later in the year. We already have one person that's going to help finance it, so it's going to be cool. But yeah,
and I have to give a shout out to one of my favorite people. That's Vanessa Thompson. What a great gal she is.
Well, she's one of my good friends. I do podcasts with her, and I was glad to be able to work with her, and hopefully we'll be able to work her into the feature, because it's sort of its own little thing as well. And I do want to mention Matt Patterson did the effects for the film, and he needs to get some major props for that. He worked with Elizabeth Cady, who created the costumes to sort of make that come to life.
Saw somebody in the comments just now say they love the mask behind you.
Oh, well, that's actually... Oh, if I can do this. That's actually the mask. So I have the dead bodies on my floor back here too, which I hope nobody ever breaks into my house, because they'll probably call the police on me. But well, cool. I'm excited to sort of talk to these other filmmakers. A lot of these films have been on the film festival circuit, and so we can learn a little bit more about each one of these great people who are involved with these wonderful films that are part of your film fest.
So before I head out, thank you for joining us. I'll be back in at the tail end of this production to wrap things up. But for now, have Tara, Ashley, or Maya to get onto the stream? If they are, please join us. Monique, if you see them trying to get in, let them in. And I am on my way out, and I will see you guys at the tail end. So, Chris, take it away.
Okay. Yeah, Monique, let me know if any of the other people show up or whatever later on. Well, let's start off with the guys from the Relic, which I was lucky enough to see at a previous film festival. There's Josh. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Great.
Good. I loved your film. I'm sure you guys get a lot of people comparing it to probably The Thing. Probably a lot.
It's a little bit of an influence there.
A little bit of influence. Wearing it on your sleeve. Now, how did you guys come about this project and developing it and coming up with a story for it?
It sort of erupted out of a fugue state that I entered after listening to all 22 hours of the H.P. Lovecraft collected fiction on audiobook. I just, I'd been a Lovecraft fan for a long time, and I'd read all his books in high school, and recently I'd been thinking about really wanting to make a monster movie. Like, that's what I've kind of, I've worked in monsters for a long time, and all the things that I've directed, I'd never directed a monster movie. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to listen to all of his fiction and see what bubbles out of it. And this is what happened.
Okay. Now I see that Matt and Roger, both of you guys were involved with the effects, and of course, Roger, the cinematography. Now, when it came to the effects aspects of it, the creation of these creatures, like how involved or how did you come up with the designs of like how this all worked within the realm of this specific short?
It was for the creature designs. It was very by the cuff. We all discussed things. Josh came into my shop, and we sort of sketched an idea. We spitballed some things, and we literally just started building something. It was just a matter of, well, what do we have? We have PVC. We have this. We have a bubble wrap, some trash bags. We got to build something, and it actually grew because it was much big, or it was much smaller originally, I believe. It actually grew to the 12-foot or 11-foot tall thing that you see in the end.
Quite that big.
Yeah, it was actually, we couldn't even get it. It was very hard to get into the shooting location because it was so physically large, but very lightweight. It was built out of trash bags and PVC. So it was, very lightweight, easy to maneuver, but there were no real clear-cut designs. We didn't really have an idea. We just knew it needed to be something. It didn't need sharp teeth, and it didn't really need anything dangerous looking about it, because this was a very existential creature that is more of an energy than anything else, but had to be imposing at least. And then when it was set up, I recall the cast was, when they first saw it moving and coming to life, they could see what they were reacting to in other shots, because they hadn't seen it all come together. We kind of hid it, although it was on set. But once it reared its ugly head, they went, "Oh, okay, that's what we're looking at."
Yeah, they didn't even see it
All
until like 11 o'clock at night on the last day of filming.
Right.
They had no idea what it was going to be.
They didn't peek. Yeah, it was good.
Well, I think that's what makes your short work so well, because you don't really see creatures on that level in a short film. You might see it in a feature film, but not a short. And so I know for me watching it for the first time, I was like, wow.
Great.
Excellent.
It was very daunting.
So, Roger, along with effects, you worked on the cinematography on this film. So I'm sure that kind of helps when you work in effects to know how to shoot things well to make it look good if there's things that don't work or not. Were there any challenges with creating the cinematography on this short?
Well, sure. I think sort of the first challenge that we from a cinematography point of view was figuring out how to shoot it where there's no power, there's no lights in the building. So there's scripted, it says it's a big storm outside, but there's a full moon. So we had moonlight and flashlights. And so the first thing, we sort of did a lot of experimenting with what kind of flashlights and how bright they could be, so that we could get light on actors and in the room, but not have just big lens flares and all burned out stuff. So that was our sort of the first real challenge. Shooting the monster really turns out to be not so difficult, because Josh and Matt made sort of an incredible monster that you can just shoot. We had ideas about moonlight coming across here, and we put slime on it so it glistened, but mostly you could shoot it. We didn't really have to hide it. There's not like fog in the room to cover it up, or we just see pieces of it early in the film. There's none of that sort of thing. It's like when it's there, boom, it's the whole thing, and that worked out fantastic. That it actually is real. And from a sort of visual effects point of view, the intent all along was to have it be all sort of practical stuff. We do a little bit of digital here and there. There's a couple of shots in the end that have a little extra CG augmentation, but even that, I sort of designed those to look like the practical puppet pieces, so they're not perfect like you might do an Avengers movie CGI. They're made to look a little bit like bubble wrap and PVC, and so there was never any intention to try to make it bigger than that. The idea was to get something practical, stick it on set, and shoot it. And then if we needed to add a couple extra elements, we'd do that here and there. We had discussed doing extra elements that we would sort of superimpose in or composite with, and we really didn't need to do that very much. Like I said, there's a couple shots at the end where we're making it bigger, where we add some stuff, but basically it is what it is, which is great. That made it so much easier to work with, and we could spend a little bit of time we had for visual effects on other things in the movie and not have to do anything with the creature.
Nice. Well, I mean, this feels like a smaller part of something bigger. I'm sure people have asked you questions. Is there a feature? I mean, I love the mythology around some of the elements in this. Have you guys thought about how you could expand this into a feature?
When I originally wrote this short, I wrote it with the intention of it being a completely freestanding story. That it's the whole exercise is about generating questions and having the questions be, interesting and fun and exciting to key off your own imagination while you're watching it, and give you as few answers as possible. Because, you know, especially when it comes to mystery and Lovecraft, like the whole point is to not know, or for you to not be able to understand everything. Like that's the whole point of what he wrote. And so the short was really designed to not be like, there's no way you can add a beginning to it. It's only an end. And so I didn't think that I would want to continue with it, but it was so much fun to make that now that we've made it, the short answer is yes. It's not this exact story, but since then we have sort of designed a mythology, and there are 2 features sort of in the works.
Right. It's really more of a world than following up on that specific story. And as Josh said, you know, all the time when we're putting it together, is that his intention was basically to write a 3rd act. So this is all this short is the culmination of all the events, and so you could go and explore the beginning, and that might be interesting. But for us right now, the exploration into other things in this universe is far more interesting to us, since we've already sort of told the end of that story. So it's kind of, you know.
Okay. Any projects in the future you can talk about, let us know about?
Well, I mean, you know, sorry, I'm stuttering. Hopefully we will be shooting the first offshoot of this as a feature in a couple of months. Cool. It's slowly developing now, and we will be in touch with everyone as it comes together. You know, movies are always just kind of weird and amoeba-like, and it's just harnessing everything together to have the miracle of anything that ever works ever. But yeah, hopefully we'll have a lot more exciting news in the coming weeks.
And both you, Matt and Roger, are you going to be involved with that as well?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Very much so. Yeah.
These guys, kind of one of the fun things about this is that we've all been working together in one respect or another for 20 or 25 years. And we all do different things. We all do, have different interests and different passions other than the thing that we just do every day for a job. And so part of the whole fun of this was that we all got to come together and do all of those things that we love to do that isn't necessarily part of our regular jobs. And so, like Roger, in addition to the cinematography, he designed the mask. Like he actually built the mask that was on the monster, and Matt did all the practical effects as well. And this is really like a culmination of everyone coming together and having a great time, and everyone sort of doing everything, as like we used to do when we were kids, and we'd go out on weekends with movies and job descriptions. It was just all of us had, the whole point was to have fun and make something cool. And so, I mean, it was really so much fun. So I can't imagine a world where we can't keep doing that. So hopefully the feature will be getting as many of the same people back together, because we had a great time.
Right.
Okay. Thanks for sharing everything. And I want to be like you guys when I grow up. So just like, all right. Well,
the secret to that is don't grow up. Is really
I'm pretty much that.
Yeah.
I'm 50 and I still haven't grown up.
Excellent.
Okay, well, let's move on to some other filmmakers. Let's actually go to Make-A-Wish. Go to Josephine and Edward of Make-A-Wish. We'll get there at some point, I guess.
Still me.
Oh, there we go! Yay! It's magic. Okay, how you guys doing?
We're good.
I feel like about every film festival I get into, you guys are in there, and I'm like, they're gonna win all the awards.
Oh my God! Stop it.
No, so Make-A-Wish. I really love this film. It's one of my favorites I've seen on the film festival circuit. I'm not saying that because you guys are on the screen. But I love the story involved with it. Now you guys were both actors and producers on it. How did you guys get affiliated with this project to begin with?
Well, this project started because the writer Ivan Sang, I had read the script for it years prior, and I wanted better demo reel footage for myself. So I asked him, hey, can we use this to just shoot some demo reel footage? We're going to do it like in our house, some cheap, lazy thing just to get footage. And then, of course, Edward was on board with this from the very beginning, and we were just trying to keep it small. But the moment we brought in Din, our director, it just blew into a whole different thing where we had like production, crew, and other stuff happening. And then it became like not just obviously demo reel footage, but then we were like, hey, we're going to make this into an actual proper short film. And then Din was like, can we make it so that it's got like an ending to it? It's not just, it doesn't feel like just a sketch idea. And then we were like, hey, we're going to submit it to film festivals. And here we are.
Well, I definitely feel like this short is definitely an actor's showcase. I think both of you do an amazing job in this. Now, when it comes to your characters, were there any things that you brought to your characters or that you brought during the project that came about just in the process of making this film?
I tell a lot of people, and when they watch this, especially the ones who know us best, that it doesn't feel too far from who we are, which I don't know if it's a compliment or an insult, because it's I will say it's a very heightened, exaggerated form of who we are, or rather our dark impulses, as well as our particular relationship. Because more often than not, especially during the pandemic, I always wonder, is this the day that Josephine will kill me? I don't know. It's always exciting. It's great when death is at your front door, especially because I'm a slob and she's very clean, and so
it's organized chaos. It's not really clean, but yes, death is always at his door.
Yes, my door.
Well, that camaraderie between the two of you, did that help, I guess, when it came to interacting in this short in regards to the things that happen?
Yes, I would, in terms of what happens with the characters, it's a heightened form, but not too far from our daily lives as well. In terms of producing, it also worked out well where like I'm more of the social guy. I like to talk to people, especially when it came to the film festival circuit, because I took over in handling that. And then during the production as well, the pre-production, shoot, and the post-production, Josephine played a key part. We also have to give a shout out to Diane Foster, who was essential in terms of the shoot itself. She was the producer on hand, while the two of us could just be actors and just do that. And then when it came to post-production, the two of us definitely played a key part in seeing it all the way through till the end.
Well, I'm kind of bummed you didn't wear your man bun today, but I'll let it slide. Now, so, you guys helped produce and stuff. Are you hoping to stay in the horror genre or the thriller type genre? Are there any projects in the future you'd like to work on? We're going to have spinoffs of this couple, maybe in other shorts where they're terrorizing other people.
Well, when we first made this, we weren't even expecting this to be a horror short of any sort. It was supposed to just be dark comedy, but then one of the first film festivals that we had submitted to was like, hey, this has a really good like horror vibe. And we're like, oh, horror. That's so ironic because I personally hate horror stuff because they're so terrifying. My butthole's always clenching and I can't handle it. And years of my life are being shaved off constantly. So why would I want to put myself through that? But I don't know. The horror community is very accepting, so we feel very welcome and we love it, and we're enjoying the shorts we're watching. But I'm also terrified the whole time. But I don't know. We don't really plan on focusing on like one genre, so to speak. A lot of the films that we do enjoy kind of veer into all territories. They don't just stick in with like, hey, we're just going to be an action film throughout it. So I don't know. Like most artists, I feel like we have so many things on our plate that we want to do, but it's just a question of what actually comes to fruition at the end.
Okay. So are there any projects you're thinking about or maybe possibly planning to do, as producers or actors?
There are ideas right now. I think once the pandemic came around, survival and laziness were the two most top important things that took over our lives. But there are a few ideas that we float around in terms of whether it be possibly expanding this into a feature or a series, or the ideas we have all somehow involve murder. So I think dark comedy is always going to be our center, whether it's going to be horror or action thing. It all involves some sort of like the morbid aspects of humor. That's what I'm personally drawn to, and I think Josephine is also drawn into that. She has some pretty morbid thoughts that when during our early parts of relation, I'm like, damn, girl, like those kick-ass thoughts and morbid. But right now we are just chilling and floating on in the pandemic world.
Hanging out with our cats.
Yes.
Which, as someone asked, they could be representations of our cats in a way.
We do have 3 cats, so yes, they could represent that.
It's like superhero posters for your cats. Well, cool. Well, I'm glad to be able to talk to you guys sort of face to face. I've seen you guys on the film fest circuit so much. I feel like every day you're in like 100 film festivals. But I'm really love your film. I'm looking forward to seeing what other stuff you guys have in the future. Hopefully one of these days I'll be able to work with you guys because I think both of you are great in this short.
She's also a cosplayer, so
I've dragged him into the cosplay world.
Oh my god, so many anime expos and Comic Cons and the Los Angeles Comic. It's just so many.
East Kamikaze.
Yeah.
Well, when we put a casting thing out, we'll definitely let you guys know because we're trying to cast a very diverse cast of people in our short.
You should have seen him wear this white leotard onesie thing I made for him once, and he was so scared that we were going to get mugged in downtown LA. I don't think anyone's going to mug you. You look like you might mug other people. You look insane.
What was one of the Ace?
Ace.
The Batman Beyond, the Royal Flush Gang. We were the gang members of that. It was crazy.
Oh man, I hope you make something around that. Make that your next project because I want to see that. All right, well, it's got nice talking to you guys. We got to move on to the filmmakers behind Thorn, Sarah and Sean.
Hello.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Oh wow. I feel like I've been to several film festivals where your film was screened as well, and it's awesome because you guys did a really wonderful job with this film. Now, both of you directed it and wrote it, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So how did this story come about? Was it loosely based on somebody's experience or just came about in your head?
Kind of a combination of things like that. We had been wanting to do something, Sean had been wanting to do something kind of urban legend-y, that he had an idea that was like loosely based around the location of a motel because there was a chance we had access to that kind of location.
Yeah, we had this other movie called Water Horse on the festival the year before, and we met a producer through the festival circuit who basically told us if we could come up with something to shoot in Atlanta in one night, he'd give us a script check for free. So we had vague ideas around a motel story, and within like a month and a half, we basically came up with this idea of how we could tell a story around a motel, around one location in one night that was interesting to us. And it was just kind of this like process of like chipping away at like urban legends ideas that I had and turning into something else that we were more interested in actually doing.
Mm-hmm. And we also did kind of draw on a couple of personal experiences to kind of highlight in the story, which was that we at one point moved across the country. We moved out to LA and drove out there. So we knew like the kind of intense pressure that like that kind of road trip can put on a couple in that situation. So we wanted to like mine that a little bit. And we also pulled from an incident where in LA at one point we were pulling into like a CVS parking lot, and some guy did like come up to our car and like smack our car and put a dead flower on the windshield. So we were like, that feels like a horror movie. Like, where can we go from there?
It was an idea we had been waiting to put into a movie for a while.
Well, when it comes to your location, were there any difficulties in shooting? I know that we shot Backward Creek at night, and so you have that whole dark parking lot and stuff. Were there any difficulties with shooting that?
Yeah, for sure. We, like Sean said, we only had one night to shoot it, so we had like the time crunch of that, and then we also had kind of an unpredictable Atlanta weather incident where there was suddenly a thunderstorm in the middle of the night when we were supposed to be shooting our outside scenes, or we had to completely like throw our schedule out the window and reorganize and go inside and hop back and forth, and it kind of, yeah.
But the actual motel didn't really give us any problems. There was like one we basically could do whatever we wanted, but we couldn't stop guests from doing whatever they wanted either. But we got lucky. There was really only one time where there was like a person really interested. There was like our producers did a great job of like getting people away and like not getting them too involved in the movie. But there was like a wide shot with like the lightning going and stuff where there was like someone watching, but they're just in the movies.
Yeah, I was wondering about that when you're shooting in a public location, you know, if you have to worry about other people, especially something like a hotel. Now, when it came to, I thought the actresses were really wonderful in this film. How did it go about you guys casting that? Were these people you know, or just came through the casting process?
Katie is a friend of ours who we knew from Sean went to Emerson for grad school, and I think she was undergrad acting. So we already knew that she was great, and we really wanted to use her in something. And Sydney, we did a casting call, and we just really liked her audition. Thought she had a lot of talent. She didn't have a lot of experience, but we really liked what she brought to it. So, yeah.
So with this story, you know, at any time were you thinking about adding any other type of elements, maybe expanding it? You know, I think when I was watching it, I almost felt like there was to be some kind of supernatural element or vampire or something. You know, you always, I think as a horror filmmaker, I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen here? Have you guys thought about maybe expanding this idea into something bigger?
Well, when we first made it, we didn't really have that thought at all. We were kind of just trying to make. We were on the circuit with like an 8 to 10 minute movie that was, I would say, more ambitious than this one. But we saw all these like 5-minute shorts that were so contained, and we wanted to do something like that too. And we just kind of really wanted to concentrate on this idea of like a really quick example of like a relationship and conflict, and then representing that through like this slasher film genre, and like interrupting a relationship movie with a horror film is how we're always describing it. But we wanted it to be really quick, and we really wanted to just create this kind of voyeuristic feeling and vibe that we could then subvert with the ending. And it was really just all about that. But since then, it's really, the idea has been growing a lot, and we've had a lot of positive reaction, and we've kind of are thinking about a feature to basically just build on this relationship, and then also build on who this person watching them is, and then also build on the idea of Amy, the like old friend / ex, and like that conflict in their relationship. So it was like an idea that came together so quickly that had a lot of stuff under the surface that we feel like we can come do more with.
Yeah. And just to jump onto some of the comments that people are posting, I want to, our cinematographers, our friend Abhijit Achar, who also shot Waterhorse, our previous short film, and people are picking up on like the colors that we used in this film, and that was something that we really wanted to like emphasize and play with, which is not something that we've done before, and something that we really wanted to try our hand at, and really like push to kind of an extreme and a stylistic extreme, and we think he did an amazing job with that. And also our colorist, Anastasia. She also did Waterhorse, and in this she kind of took it in this other direction that we were trying, and did such an excellent job. And the other thing I want to mention is the lightning. Somebody mentioned we did get shots of real lightning, but not in the scene as it was filming. So we had that's a like visual effect where our artist brought the lightning that we captured into the scenes where we wanted to see it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it didn't. I think that's what helps when you use more practical type stuff and you integrate it, as opposed to just doing some like CGI lightning a lot of times. So are there any other projects other than this you're thinking about working on in the future that you can tell us about?
Yeah, we unfortunately we were going to shoot something a year ago that got
like almost exactly a year ago that got pushed
because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But it's this movie called The Thaw.
Sure. The Thaw is kind of, it was going to be a black and white faux horror that we were going to shoot here in Vermont, and we did a big like fundraising campaign around it, and it was just about to go when COVID hit, and we made that really hard decision in the beginning of last March to to call it. And
we were
so
hoping we'd get to shoot it now, but
it's a difficult project because it will be the biggest short that we've done to date, and so we really wanted to make sure we had enough resources and support to shoot this like larger, more ambitious story out in the cold, and all of that, and make sure our collaborators were taken care of. And it's just not something that we can really do during pandemic times, so we're waiting till we can make that happen. So that one's kind of just waiting in the wings for when we can get people out in the snow safely and shoot that creepy little faux core.
Yeah, I think that's hurt a lot of us when we're wanting to work on future projects. But this short is great. It's got some great cinematography and great acting. So you guys did a great job. So looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the future.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, coming up next, we got Tea Time. Tara Price, the director of Tea Time. Hi, Tara.
Hi. Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Tea Time. This is a fun little short. I've seen it a few other film festivals as well. A wonderful job. Now, as W.C. Fields said, you never work with children or dogs, and you worked with half of that with this little child. I think her name was Kennedy Berry. I think her name is.
Yep, Kennedy.
Yeah.
She was 3 years old when we shot that.
So how was that? And I know that probably with especially young kids, you have to manipulate them to deliver certain lines. How difficult was that working with her as an actress?
We anticipated the problems that would arise, the potential problems. She's 3. She's, 3-year-olds, they don't know it's acting. They don't know we're making a movie. They just think it's a big party and that we're all there to hang out with her. And, but her mom was there. Her mom, Katie, was one of the producers, and we shot it at their house. And, she was very, very wonderful in that she prepared Kennedy ahead of time by going over the lines with her. So Kennedy, she weirdly knew her lines, even though she didn't really know what was happening. She knew her lines. There was one point where we were trying to do a quick line through just to get some audio, and her mom skipped ahead, and Kennedy was like, "No, Mama, that's the next line." Like, she actually knew that stuff, thanks to her mom.
So with the idea around this short, how did this idea come about for Tea Time?
Oh, it's just, you get those random thoughts that just pop into your head. And I've always liked the idea of kids and their imagination, and, who isn't a fan of Calvin and Hobbes? And I just thought it would be a funny twist on that, though, if the kid wasn't being nice to their toys, but was actually being mean. And I liked I thought it was a funny contrast to have a little girl treating her toys like she's their mob boss.
Okay. Now, of course, we had a little bit of a cameo from a wrestling legend, Rob Van Dam. How did that come about? How did he get involved with this project?
I just asked him. That makes it sound so easy. Rob's a friend of mine. We've known each other a few years, and I was just really fortunate that he thought the script was funny and he agreed to be in it. It was really, really a blessing.
And what was one of the most difficult things working on this project, or were there any really difficulties with finishing this short?
There's always difficult things, always, every movie. This one, oh man, shooting outside, anyone will tell you, is hard when it's low budget and you don't have a lot of control over noise and lighting, things like that. Unexpected things pop up, the challenges of working with kids, and but overall we overcame it all. And then just things sometimes can drag out a little in post too, because you're working around people's schedules and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we got it done. I mean, that's what matters, right? I was, a good friend of mine, who's a very well-known filmmaker, said to me that it doesn't matter as long as you make your day. So I did. I thought, all right, we'll cobble together a movie out of this.
So when it came to the production design, whether it's the designs of the little vests and stuff on the things, or like the little figure and stuff, who exactly helped to create a lot of that stuff?
The costumes were Janet Tennyson. She's done costumes on every short film I've ever made. She's amazing. And production design, the sets and everything, were done by Alex Wilt, who also worked on my previous film, Earworm. She's fantastic. Both of them just they elevate it, they help create that atmosphere you're going for, trying to create something in tea time. I want it to be very bright and colorful and fun, like it's Easter Sunday, because I wanted that contrast to what's actually happening. And they both really brought it. They're wonderful to collaborate with, because I just explain to them what I'm looking for and send them photos of inspiring kind of stuff, and they nail it every time.
Well, do you have any future projects you want to work on, or would you ever want to sort of expand this into this crazy, killer child who kills their toys as a feature film, maybe?
I think this is a standalone piece. I'm flattered by anyone who thinks it can be more than that, but I do have a love for short films. I think they're their own little art form. I do have a feature film, a screenplay in the works. I also have another short that is kind of on hold because of the pandemic, but I'm hoping to eventually get that one made. We'll see. That's waiting. I'm sure a lot of other filmmakers are saying the same thing. It's a bit of a waiting pattern these days because things are very strange.
Someone asked, is that a real cat behind you? Is that a special effect? Or
that's Bella Chow. Bella Chow. Yeah, see, she's real. She always insists on being in these things. I just did an interview the other night for a podcast, and she jumped up, and I can't keep her out of here. I try, but there's no door.
Well, I appreciate you joining us today. And your short, I always love seeing it pop up at different film festivals. It's definitely one of my favorite comedies.
Thank you.
I've watched a lot of these film festivals. It's such a great idea.
Thank you very much.
Now let's move on to Effin' Ghosts, the filmmakers behind Effin' Ghosts.
Hello.
Hey, Jason. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Now, Effin' Ghosts, another film that pops up in a different film festivals. My film Backer Creep has been in, and I always enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Now,
We've been sharing some festivals with several of these people.
I know so many. I feel. Oh, here's Kelly.
There's the Kelly.
Now, with Effin' Ghosts. Now, how did this idea come about? As someone that I watch a lot of supernatural shows, and I love it when people sort of create their own version of like a horror trailer, because we always see those sort of cheesy horror trailers a lot of times. How did this idea come about with, ghosts and sheets, not even like to the level of being, scary ghosts, but so how did you come up with this idea?
Well, I mean, I had this idea to make like a horror comedy, and I felt like, I was sort of looking at inspirations of like Paranormal Activity, and I was thinking like, okay, here you're seeing like all of this stuff happen. It's very low budget. Everything's happening in camera, but it's terrifying. It's terrifying. It's a terrifying film, very scary. So I thought like, well, what would be the funny version of that? Like, what would happen if your camera's caught ghosts having sex next to you while you're sleeping? And then that sort of was the seed of this sort of crazy silliness. And then really, it started out as like, just like that. It was like, okay, there's like sort of the baseline, and then it was like, okay, let's figure out what the story is. And in fact, it actually started out as a short that that was about a couple that was doing a audition tape to get onto Ghost Hunters, and they were talking about how all of these things happen, and they had this all in this footage, and it was so funny. Anyway, but I mean, I think Ghosts is at the end of the day, it's about family, and it's about relationships, and no, it's just really, it was an excuse to shoot a ghost orgy.
And Kelly, as a producer, how did you get involved with this project?
So I had actually known the creator of Super Funny, which is the production company that co-produced this along with my company, Mary Ellen Moffat, Ben Morrison, who actually plays the priest in our short. And so Ben had connected me to Jason, and that's how I got to know Jason. And Jason has a tremendous career in commercial work, and he had sent me this script, and I was honored because I didn't know he was interested in doing narrative work, and the fact that he was looking for my feedback meant a lot to me. So I read the script. I had no intention of doing anything with it necessarily other than reading it, but it was so funny on the page that I called him. I remember exactly the night. It was right here in my kitchen where I'm at right now. I called him and I was like, hey, this script is great. You have to let me produce it. I got to do it. It ironically aligned very well with the mission behind Muriel and Moffat, and I just knew we could assemble the right group of people around the room to make this really great and make the production value high, because that was important. Being a trailer, that we had to make it look expensive in order to sell it in the way that we wanted to. So yeah, the rest is history.
So where did you shoot this? Did you shoot it in someone's house?
Yeah. So the script was really funny on the page, and so it was really easy to get people involved. It was such an outrageous idea, and it was just something that like I just wanted to see if I could do and pull it off. So I've never written a screenplay before, and I direct commercials, as Kelly said, but I've never done like this sort of high level narrative stuff on the side. But yeah, I was able to like talk my friend Gary, if you're listening, into letting us use his house, and it was just it was the perfect location. I mean, there were so many things that came together that were just ended up being like, just perfect confluence of talent and just and people just wanting to jump in because they thought it was a funny idea. And that's, at the end of the day, it was just like, how do we make this thing the funniest thing we can possibly make? And just really like lean into the absurdity of it all and everything. But yeah, we had an incredible location. I mean, locations are so important, for production value. And it was just this amazing house in the valley. And yeah.
Now, of course, with this being a trailer, it's almost like a montage of moments.
Yeah.
Were there any things that came up during the process of filming that weren't scripted initially, but just came about in the process of filming it?
Yeah. So this, I can't stress enough like how amazing our cast was. Like they're all improv comedian actors. They're incredible. Like we shot the page, we shot everything on the page, and then they were just throwing out stuff that was just insane. And it was the set was so alive, and there was so much incredible energy, just comedic energy, and like I'd yell cut, and like the room would explode, like everybody's just dying laughing. It was like super pro, but it was a really pro production, but it was just like completely silly. It was completely off the rails. And everybody just dove in and did, and so, yeah, I mean, yeah, Kelly, I mean, there's probably things specifically you could speak to about production, but just for me, it was just like such a pleasure working with these people that were just all in on the joke and just wanted to make it the best version.
Oh yeah. And I think some of it, from what I've been hearing from folks that have watched the film, some of folks' favorite moments are total improv, like that Danny Boyd sequence and whatnot. It was just our cast being ridiculous, throwing things in there that just turned out to be gold. So we got really lucky.
Yeah, and I think just giving, there was so much trust involved, right? Like with me and the actors, and just, giving them the space to explore at the end of the day, these are literally just moments. They're just moments strung together that were from a short film that I ended up just making as a trailer. And so all of that stuff kind of carried over, but it was just but everybody just, what they brought to it was just, that was the magic. It was just like, it was hilarious. It's crazy.
Yeah, someone in the chat earlier asked if you guys seen the Sex Ghosts and Sexorcist in the show Doom Patrol. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that show.
No.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, so I haven't seen that episode, so I'll have to go back and check it.
No, so Sexorcist is not an original thought. Oh,
evidently. So
guys, it still works.
So with this being a trailer, I'm sure you guys get asked all the time, would you ever think about making like a feature film version of this idea?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is funny. Like people think it's a trailer for a feature film. Like they actually think it's a trailer, which is amazing. So that's just the the best sort of compliment is, you know, and yeah, we've talked a lot about a feature version of this. I mean, it's kind of tough because it's not like a mainstream like, situation. I mean, it's like we've sort of shot a ghost porn film, but it's a very funny ghost porn film, and it uses sexuality in a very like sort of subversive way. It's not explicit. It's you know, there's a lot of like double and triple entendre with just the words effing ghosts. And so, I mean, I think that there's plenty to mine for it. I think we've been talking about it, especially with so much interest in the film. So yeah, there's probably going to be a script at some point if I can be bothered to write scripts, because I hate writing scripts, but.
Well, it definitely feels on the level of like Kentucky Fried Movie and how you guys.
Yeah. I was channeling like ultimately, like I was really channeling like old like really broad comedy stuff, you know, like Airplane and Naked Gun, and just like those like sight gag, you know, and then just putting it in the context of a horror film was just so much fun. And then I think too, just the lo-fi ghosts, like that was the thing that like really kicked it off, like to be hilarious, was like they're just people under sheets, you know, mimicking sex acts, but we established that early on that there aren't anybody under the sheets, you know, with that first scene. So it's so yeah, the suspension of disbelief and like the whole thing, like starting, you know, sort of breaking that just like breaking that out early, and then everything just sort of plays really well. It's just so fun. It's so fun.
Well, several people in the comments mentioned that they could tell you guys are having fun making it. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys talking with us today about the short. It's one of my favorite horror comedies I've seen on the Film Fest circuit. So,
thank you so much.
Looking forward to see what you guys. I'm a huge horror comedy fan in general, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do in the future. So,
that's amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, so we're gonna move on.
Sorry. Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to give a shout out to Kelly's mom, who's listening.
Oh, hi, Kelly's mom.
Hi, Kelly's mom.
Aren't you so proud?
And I'm sorry for everything. Okay, bye. Good to see you.
So, yeah. All right, moving next, we're going to go to the filmmakers behind Diabla. I think we have Maya.
Yes.
Hi, Maya.
Hi. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. We crossed paths at Women in Horror Film Festival. So I'm great that you could be on here today to talk about Diabla.
Yeah.
So I didn't notice it until the credits. I know that you were a producer, but in the credits, it says story by. So the initial concept was your idea?
Yeah. So it's actually my Columbia MFA producing thesis. And I wanted to test out like how I want to be a producer. So I kind of started getting very incensed by Trump's comments about women and Mexicans, and was drawn to Mexico City. And I went for a month and researched. And I'd also just before that pitched the idea to a women in horror film or women in film group. Mm-hmm. And that's where I met Ashley, the director. And so she joined me at the end of the research trip. And that's when we came up with the concept. So sort of, yeah, like I'm the creative behind it, but then Ashley was involved in the script from the beginning with the writer and then did the final rewrite. So it really is a full collaboration.
Had you worked with Ashley before this, or you just knew her as a friend?
No, I didn't know her at all. I just met her when I was pitching the idea in this women in film group.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when did you guys actually film it in Mexico?
Yeah, we filmed in two areas of Mexico City. We filmed in an area that's more central called Portales and an area that's quite dangerous called East Tapalapa.
So were there any difficulties with shooting in that location at all during the process of this?
Yeah, I think this came up in Women in Horror Film Festival, actually. Like, definitely, there was a very scary day where people came with guns to the set. So that was less than fun, but we were okay. We'd actually got security at that point. So we were prepared because we knew like East Tapalapa is no joke. Like you need to be careful shooting there.
Now, someone in the chat mentioned that Ruth Ramos was amazing in this short. So with your main actress, how did you guys go about casting that role?
So that was unusual too. So I partnered with a local producer in Mexico that I'd met at Palm Springs Short Film Festival. And I wasn't super involved in the casting. I was like, I think I was in Berlin at that point, and Ashley was like very keen to get on it. So the co-producer and the production company we partnered with, Enfant Poulet, they just put out like Facebook calls and Instagram calls, and then they did an audition. Ruth, they kind of knew already because the producer had worked with her in her short before, and then has since then done a feature with her. So they're actually really, really good friends. So Ruth was through the producer, but in general, the casting was fascinating because it was just like through like an open call essentially, and that's quite common. I found out in Latin America. I had no idea because I obviously normally go through like Breakdown or through casting director.
So all of the elements involving the people who seek revenge using like I guess black magic or whatever you want to call it they're using, was that concept always in your initial story, or was that brought on when the director came on in the process?
We always knew it was, well, I always kind of knew it was a revenge story, a socio-political revenge story, because that was my idea. Like, I thought it was going to be something about Trump. When we were in Mexico, or when I was in Mexico initially and then Ashley joined, every single conversation we had was about like 7 to 9 women dying every day from gender-based killing. So we always knew it was about women seizing their power back. Just figuring out how was the question.
Mm-hmm. And without giving anything away, there's a special effect thing that happens towards the end, and the people that did special effects, how were they able to pull off that specific scene?
God, they were incredible. Actually, we got put into contact with like a few special effects people in Mexico, and they were really amazing because they wanted to work with our budget. But this guy also did like special effects for all the big like Netflix shows shooting in Mexico. And I don't know, how can I describe it without giving too much away? He just basically cast a mold of the actor, and I guess I'm not going to say where, but maybe that gives a good enough hint. Cast a mold of the actor. So the actor was like naked and like went in for a casting, and then created a tube and then fitted it to his body on the day. So it was a process. That was probably one of our more expensive items, but.
Well, I think that's I mean, it's some powerful subject matter to begin with, but I think a lot of times it's great when you have a film where they don't, in the beginning, they don't show everything, but then they have that one moment where they just bring it to the forefront. And I think that's what makes the ending of it work so well, is because of that reveal. Now, because of the subject matter involved with that, with the actress, you know, was that very hard on set to sort of pull off some of the really emotional scenes that happen in this short?
Yeah, well, that was obviously a closed set moment. So hopefully Ashley will be able to join, well, not join our call, but like talk to you later, because I wasn't actually in the room because I wanted to be respectful. We just had like a small skeleton crew. So I was like probably upstairs worrying about how are we going to feed everyone,
Gotcha.
like putting out lunch or something. But I'm sure, I mean, you can see the acting is so powerful. I'm sure it was really, really emotional. Both actors are just so professional and so lovely. So I'm sure, like, you know, Ashley handled it with respect. So yeah, but I can't tell you exactly what happened because I wasn't there.
Gotcha. So your producer on this, is that one of the main roles you like working in when it comes to the film industry, like being a producer?
Yeah, I'm pretty much exclusively a producer. In COVID, I got quite bored, and a lot of my writers and directors were having a lot of trouble writing, completely understandably. So I have started writing a script because the school I did my MFA at, Columbia, like we're sort of known as the writing school. So we do a lot of writing classes, even as producers, which means we're good at giving development notes, but also we're all pretty good writers. So I started writing a script that's about, the premise is witches and demons should never be lovers, and it's set in LA and kind of like a throwback to sort of 90s witch and demon shows like Buffy and Charmed and stuff. So that's a new journey for me. I'm developing that right now in a BAFTA writing group. But yeah, in general, I'm a producer. That's my happy place.
Yeah, I saw your Instagram photo of the different books you said were for research. So I always love that part of the process when it comes to creating a story.
It's so fun.
Yeah, because that helps to sort of like inform your project, and sometimes you get ideas from research that you probably can't have on your own. So
yeah, and also in quarantine, I got super into witchcraft. So like, just unknowingly, I was reading all these witchcraft books, and that's kind of going into my script too. So it's been just a year that led me to writing this thing. So hopefully it turns out well.
I'll make sure not to cross you anytime soon, so you don't put any kind of hex on me.
Yeah. No, we're not allowed to hex people because it comes back like 3 times.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming in, and hopefully we'll be able to speak to Ashley at some point during this thing. But
I hope she gets through. I love like getting into this. It's like it was like a festival. I was like clicking every 10 minutes, like, will I get in? Will I get in?
Yeah. So the project you're researching, are there any other projects you'd like to talk about, or is that the main thing you're working on right now?
I did a few things. Like I shot my first thing in COVID because obviously I was just like, how the hell are we going to do any kind of micro budget anything, which is generally where I exist. But I shot a music video in December that's in post right now. That was directed by a friend of mine called Ursula Ellis, and another friend of mine was the artist Veronica Bianchi. It's called I Want to Tell You. And then I just this week agreed to produce a short. So it's my first narrative short in pandemic, so we'll see how that goes, but it's pretty self-contained, and since I did the music video I kind of understand the COVID restrictions and complications, and that is called, it's so funny, I keep blanking on the name. I can tell you exactly what it's about. It's called No Filter, and it's by a lovely director called Nathan Cricker, who recently produced an anthology feature actually, so I'm really excited to work with him. And then I'm frantically trying to apply to Fantasia Frontiers Horror Lab right now with Feminist Alien Feature, which we're going to hopefully shoot in the fall in New Mexico. So bunch of things.
Wow, you're a busy bee.
Yeah, right now, finally, after a year of hibernation, like stuff's happening.
Yeah, it's like from pupa to butterfly.
So excited.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for talking with us, and hopefully, good luck with the future projects. And Diabla, if you're watching any of the films on the Nevermore Film Festival, definitely check it out. It's a very strong, powerful film. So
yeah, I'm sure I'll see you at more. I've seen you at a few.
I know.
So I'll probably see you much more.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you soon at another film festival. So
yeah.
Okay. So now moving next, let's see. We're gonna go to the Summer Brothers with "I'll Be Back Tomorrow." Hey guys.
Hey there. Hey.
Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Really wonderful short. Sort of. Yeah, and it sort of ends at that one moment, like So it has a really great ending to it. So this project, I know it says based on a true story. Is this something that happened to one of you or both of you?
We get asked that, of course, a lot, which is our own fault for putting that at the beginning of the movie. The part of the movie where the dream that's recounted, that was a story that was told us as truth, not even as an urban legend, as something that actually happened, as kind of a cautionary tale, and we never forgot it. We were very young when we heard it.
Yeah, it was like a friend's mom. We were over at his house, and she told us this story about her neighbor. And it seems wildly inappropriate now. Now I look back and go, wow, I can't believe anybody told us that. But we were thinking about, and so we kept remembering, like, was that real? And she really seemed to believe it, that had happened.
So as far as we know, it's true.
Yes.
So, in the process of making this, now you guys working as co-directors and brothers and stuff, how does that, do you guys just have this simpatico with working each other? I mean, is one person stronger than the other, or you just have this normal camaraderie with directing a film?
Oh no, it's utter chaos. It's a terrible way to get anything done. I don't recommend it for anybody who wants to make movies. It's already difficult, and then you add that layer to it. I think we kind of play off each other's strengths and weaknesses. Probably not the most effective way to do it, but I think when we direct, we try and be on the same page. We try and have the same idea. I'll probably focus a little more. It just depends on which technical aspect. Sometimes I'll focus a little more on camera or something like that. We're also focused more on sound on set because we do a lot of that stuff ourselves. And then in editing, we'll switch off, you know, one guy will edit, the other guy will edit. So that's kind of the process. I wish I could say there was a real method to it, or at least we were organized about it, but it's basically a hodgepodge.
Okay. Now, I think one of my favorite parts is how you integrate the dreams into the editing of this. Now, was this concept for this? Was this what you initially thought of when you were creating this, or did it come about in just in the process of making it?
I think we knew we were going to cut to the sort of POV camera shots. Where they started to come in the movie, that was something that we found a little bit more in editing, particularly I think the initial one. We didn't know it was going to be in there when we shot it. But I think the concept was always there.
Well, we knew we were going to cut to a dream, and how we were going to do it, how we were going to differentiate that it was a dream, we kind of went back and forth on. And I think at some point we just hit on breaking the fourth wall, that they would just look directly at camera. And then I think in editing, we came up with the idea that you're also hearing the dialogue in the present, also in the dream.
Now, I think one of the big integral parts of this is the sound design, because that's always what helps to make films scarier, you know, just by hearing sounds. Now, did you work hand in hand with the sound designer in making sure these specific moments worked to sort of sell the atmosphere of the short?
We did, and a lot of the sounds or the ideas for the sound were initially in our rough cut, and I think because we didn't have a big VFX budget or a giant monster or anything that we could sort of point to, which we would have loved to have had, sound became a much more important aspect of the movie. The sound designer that we worked with, Eric Friend, is also based here in Austin. And he worked on our other movie, See You on the Other Side, and he's great. He came up working with Mike Judge here in Austin, so he really knows his stuff. He works on a lot of movies.
Yeah, I think we, you know, it's just one of those things that we didn't want to overdo the sound. I mean, it's always great when sound starts to happen, but I think what it was just more, how can this be? There's like scratching and stuff, and I think that was just like the kind of thing you spend forever on. It's just, is it the right scratch? Is it scratchy enough? You know?
Well, I mean, this is one of those films that kind of teases the supernatural aspects a lot, which really works well in a short. Have you ever thought about expanding it to like a feature to where we can get more of the background on this sort of witch character and, you know, almost being, you know, the poltergeist with witches type feature? Have you thought about expanding it into maybe a feature?
It's funny. I feel like with all of our shorts, when we start, we always wanted to just be a short, because we work with film festivals and we've helped program shorts. And I don't always like the ones that you can tell are just a piece of a movie. It ends on some cliffhanger. And Russ and I like them to feel like they're part of a bigger world, but then there's a beginning and end to the short. And so it's funny, we always think they feel self-contained, just like a little Twilight Zone episode or something. And then when we show them to other people, they're very kind and say, oh, I think there should be more. And that's probably the only moment where we think, well, is there more? Could there be more? But
if someone has a giant check, then yes, there's definitely more.
Yeah.
To the short.
Well, you know, so do you guys have any other projects in the works? Any other ideas you're working on that you'd like to make, you know, despite us being, you know, having to deal with COVID right now?
Well, and COVID has given us time to write, which is both good and bad. Good because obviously you're being productive, and bad because we just hate writing like everybody else. But I think we have, so right now we're working on one or two features in particular that we think we can make for a low budget, and they'll definitely be in the horror genre. I'd love, we have a couple more horror shorts, and I'd love to sneak one of those in, hopefully maybe by the end of the year when more people have been vaccinated and you can just not worry about that aspect of it.
Well, this is a very effective short. Really
Thank you.
Well done. I really enjoyed every bit of it, to where it's like, oh, you know, I almost wanted to see more, you know. So
well, we appreciate it. We greatly enjoyed yours as well.
Yeah,
it was a really fun, fast time.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, really scary, and the lighting was gorgeous, and the editing was really
and absolutely played into my fear of the backup camera. Every time I look in the backup camera in my car, what is going to be there? Why is it so creepy?
I don't know. Because you always, and you see the things now with like the Priuses to where like you can see, you know, there it has motion sensors to where it senses people in cemeteries. So you kind of wonder like, oh, what the heck? But yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, great job, man. And I'm looking forward to what projects you guys do in the future, because this is a really great calling card for whatever's next for you guys.
Really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Same to you.
Okay, moving on. Sweet Nothings. We have Christian Klein.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Christian. Now, you had Sweet Nothings, which not only did you direct and write it, but you also did special effects, which, as someone who has dabbled in special effects a little bit, I was kind of blown away, especially the level that special effects are used to sort of pull off this sort of, I think I call it like Minority Report meets Tinder. So you have this sort of interesting future, which I could sort of see us moving to at some point. So how, I mean, I know you, so how were you able to, I mean, I guess it's my mind is blown because I was like, there's so many effect shots in this film.
Oh, thanks, man.
And to sort of be able to map it and that kind of stuff. So do you have a huge background in special effects?
I do. Yeah. I started messing around with visual effects techniques in high school. Definitely just one of those kids who was going online, doing tutorials, trying to make cool stuff. And then at the Florida State University Film School, I had some really great teachers who had years of experience in the visual effects industry and got to learn a lot more things about green screen keys and modeling in 3D and 2D compositing and After Effects. And that's really where I started to develop more skills and take things to the next level. Every shot in Sweet Nothings was done in After Effects. There was a little bit of Maya work in there, but for the most part, it's just all, you know, Adobe After Effects, making cool stuff.
Yeah, somebody in chat asked, is any of the frustration of online dating based on personal experience when it comes to the story?
Yeah, well, the initial inspiration actually was like, I have personally had the experience of matching with a profile that turned out to be fake. And in these modern times, basically what that'll be is like, you know, you're talking to someone and you realize it's basically one of those chat bot algorithms that has 4 or 5 things total that it can say. And it's just trying to get you to click on some kind of suspicious link. So that actually happened to me, and I thought it was hilarious, and I definitely like just mentally filed it away to do something with it at some point. And then at the same time, I was working as an animator for a marketing agency, so I was just constantly surrounded by the conversations such as, you know, what's the future of marketing? How are we going to promote this? How are we going to get people to click on this? And just being in that headspace eventually led to the idea of like, what if one day the fake, like the chat bots from these fake dating profiles are actual bots that you go on a date on in real life, and then their purpose is like they're paid for by corporations to plug their products to people who think they're actually on a real date.
Yeah, it's so well done, and the way you pull off that stuff. Now, I know that because you've worked in special effects, how did you work hand in hand with your cinematographer so that when it came to pulling off certain shots, you know, you had to like throw a screen on this or do that? Can you give us a little bit more information about how you worked with him hand in hand to sort of pull off some of these shots?
Yeah, for sure. My cinematographer was a classmate of mine, Victor Ingles. He's awesome, really knows his stuff. And, you know, we'd just been through the trenches together in film school. So he knows the kind of stuff that I like to try, and I knew the kind of stuff that he liked to try. And he is familiar with the visual effects pipeline as well. So he knew we would have to like put tracking markers on the walls for certain shots, or, you know, position the lights in a certain way to get everything to line up. And he's familiar with shooting on green screens as well. So yeah, it all worked out.
Yeah, you know, because I think in every shot, I think there's the one shot where he's in the bedroom and you can even look out the windows and you see like little shadows of people humping in the windows.
Yeah, we shot that ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So,
I went on green screen stock footage websites and I was like, does this exist? And it did not exist. So on the same day where we shot all our green screen stuff of like the hands swiping in the main actors, we actually also had some some other actor friends of mine who were just down for anything, just sort of go through the motions while clothed, because, you know, like I knew it was going to be silhouettes, but yeah, that was like, we brought like a green blow up mattress in and onto the green screen stage and let them do their thing. And yeah, now I just have that footage forever and can blackmail them whenever I need to.
Well, you know, working with the main actor or actors in this, was there any difficulty? I know a lot of times when you do special effects and they're having to react to something that's not there, was there any difficulties with them pulling off like the swipes and doing the physical motions that sort of like really sold this world that you created?
You'd think maybe there would be, but Zach was just fantastic. He just absolutely knew everything I was going for. I actually also, I had like a super crude poster board, you know, that you would buy for like a school project, where I just sketched out to him, like, it'll be roughly this large around you, and here's where the buttons are. So he knew to like kind of where in space to tap. And then he just completely committed to it. And we also, and then our gaffer on set was like dimming and undimming lights in sync with Zach's hand motion to make sure that like the appropriate amount of contact lighting would be on him. And yeah, no, everyone just did a fantastic job.
So are you hoping that Carl's Jr. might sponsor a feature film version?
Probably, most likely not, but I'm hoping I don't hear from them at all. But if I do, it'll be an interesting case, because like one of the reasons I specifically decided to have it be them is because in terms of doing like being legally allowed to do parody, one of the things that really makes it so that you're fine is if you represent the brand in the way that they represent themselves. Mm-hmm. So if Carl's Jr. ever actually happened to see this and got upset, I could just be like, what, you got upset that I had a hot blonde woman sell your burgers? That's literally your own marketing campaign. And the stuff that they've done in their ads is way worse than this. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw the disclaimer at the very end, because I was like, wow, there's so much product placement in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, parody sort of allows you that gray area to do that kind of stuff. So really wonderful short. Loved it. Do you have any future projects you're planning to work on right now or are working on?
Yeah, I have an animated short that's been in the works for a couple of years, hoping to come back to that now. But also I love doing music videos. I have a lot of friends who are music artists, and I've done a music video in the past before. I'd love to do another one of those. But you know, if I get an idea for another live action short visual effects adventure, I want to go that path as well. The company I work for right now just got one of those like video walls that they use for The Mandalorian. So I'm definitely secretly hoping that like maybe I could sneak in and try to shoot something on there with like just like a fully CG environment or something.
Oh, I'm so jelly.
Yeah.
I mean, most of us independent filmmakers would love to have that, because that could expand your abilities so much.
For sure.
Well, man, this short is so amazing. I was really blown away, but just the level of special effects in this, I think would have cost $100,000 in a normal film. But we appreciate you joining us today to talk about your short, and good luck with all your future projects.
Yeah, thank you. Nevermore is the first film festival to accept it. Like, it's the first of the campaign. So I'm really, really excited to be here, and you guys have done an amazing job.
Well, I see many more in your future, sir, because it's an amazing short. All right, moving on. We're going to go back to Jim.
Well, hey, Chris, you have done an amazing job. Thank you so much. I think I sprung this on you at the last moment, asking you to.
I did my best. Hopefully, I was able to, get a lot of interesting information.
Been amazing, a wonderful moderator. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Thank you so much. Let's bring everybody back on screen who is still in the waiting rooms, if there's anybody left.
I think it's just.
I see Sarah and Sean. I see Jason. I see the Summers brothers. There's Kelly and Christian. Everybody here. Well, guys, everyone here, thank you so much. Nevermore Film Festival appreciates, loves you all. Thank you so much for submitting your films. Anything that any of you would like to say as we close out this session?
Loved everybody's shorts. Yeah, they were great. And thank you guys so much for putting on such a great fest.
Well, we're going to wrap up. I think that we've run a little bit longer than we had originally planned, but that's wonderful. That means that everybody got a chance to speak to the audience. Again, if you're watching us, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We will be back on Tuesday night with another live chat. this time with the filmmakers from the feature film Catherine's Lullaby. And again, on Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be having live chats with the filmmakers from An Ideal Host. A Ghost Waits. Thursday night is going to be Till Freddy, I believe. And so please do join us if you can. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching Nevermore. It has been a wonderful festival so far. And signing out now. Thank you.